Welcome to the Aural Apothecary podcast, authentic chat about medicines, pharmacy and healthcare in the UK.
Pharmacists Jamie, Gimmo and STC take on topical and controversial stories, but keep it edgy yet light-hearted.
Guests share their career-defining drug, song and book, and also share their joyful patient stories. Welcome to the Aural Apothecary podcast. My name is Jamie Hayes. It's our Almanac for 2025. Time for some reflection and a festive drink at the end of another year. STC is in Bournemouth, Gimmo's in Cardiff. To help us look back over the year, we're joined in the Aural Apothecary arms by Apothecaries 4 and 5. It's Claire Howard and Jonathan Underhill. Welcome all.
Evening.
Evening.
Hi, Jamie.
How are you?
Okay, look, I've just flown home from Hyderabad, flew in yesterday, still struggling with some of the jet lag. So first Almanac bonus point, okay? I've flown in from Hyderabad. What was the fun fact that Professor Alistair Boxall told us about Hyderabad?
Oh, was that it had the highest concentration they'd ever found of carbamazepine?
Oh, close, but no cigar.
Paracetamol.
No, you're close. Ciprofloxacin.
In the water.
Yeah, Hyderabad. He told us that the river in Hyderabad had 10 times, so it had 30-something per something, compared to 3 that is our...
And did you take your ciprofloxacin with you when you went to Hyderabad, Jamie? Because that's what happens. People take their, just in case dose of ciprofloxacin.
Why would
because
you
it's
take
brilliant for travellers' diarrhea, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Till your Achilles snaps off and I wouldn't take that.
Old school, just go for a can of full-fat Coke, isn't it? Wasn't that one of the ones back in the day?
Yeah. If the amateur are listening, Claire didn't really mean that, by the way. But
By the way, you give me an opportunity to right a wrong, because I was talking about ivermectin, and I said it was patients were using it for cancer with fomepizole. Of course, I was wrong. It was febendazole.
Okay, before we get going, some reflections. So what are we talking about? A reflection on 2025, maybe podcast related, maybe any pharma comedy you want to mention. Yeah, come back to us with that. But before we get going, look, there was some confusion over Jonathan's availability for tonight. So we reached out to our alumni. Our people got in touch with Anne-Marie Goacher's people in Sussex. Unfortunately, Anne-Marie had another engagement and so couldn't make it tonight. Can't think what would get in the way of... She did say what an honour to be asked, but she was drying her hair or something. But she did give us this. Look, it stirred her creativity, so have a listen. Here's from Anne-Marie.
They are still the Apothecaries 3, Jamie, Gimmo and STC, with Claire and Jonathan 4 and 5 up for a bit of crack, joining in for the roundup on the end of year Almanac. Series 8 and still on their game, they've now become a household name. But even with the dizzying height of their fame, don't worry, they have not changed. Even as fellowships are bestowed, they're still the down-to-earth lads we love to know. They tackle health topics across the board, bringing us fun facts and experts galore. From AI, the inverse care law and patients know best, to shared decision-making and conflicts of interest. Breaking down each subject with interesting debate, keeping the listener in a permanent state of a heady mix of curiosity and wonder. That is the apothecary spell we are under. So if you want to chat about health, whatever the weather, the Aural Apothecary, it's not just thrown together.
Aww,
There we go.
that's
Thank
so
you,
good.
Anne-Marie. So
That is a talented lady. How fab.
another instalment of the Ode to the Apothecaries.
For those who don't remember, she did a poem for us last year, didn't she, in the Almanac, so that one is available as well.
Yeah,
It is
I like
indeed.
the idea of an almanac, though.
Yes, there's some alcohol involved in that. Very good. Okay, look, some reflections. Who would like to go first with a reflection on what's gone on?
I don't mind going first. It's not a funny one, but it's a podcast-related one. So, firstly, we're trying a slightly different approach with our episodes this year, aren't we? And it's going well, and it's sort of like topics that are maybe a little bit broader than medicines, but medicines related. And I wanted to talk about AI, really, because I think, obviously all our episodes are great and all our episodes are fantastic, but I think our AI episode with Jess Morley was up there with our best. I actually think, without blowing our own trumpet, it was a really important episode because I think we got into the topic in a way that I've wanted to hear but not heard from other people. And so if you remember, we got heavy into the ethics of it. We were optimistic but skeptical of the impact that AI would have on healthcare and actually its ability to do medicine in the way that it's being explained. One of the words that I think about a lot, and I use it a lot when I'm talking about AI and how we have to be careful with it, was do you remember the concept of explainability and the fact that it's impossible to know how AI's reached this decision? And then we finished off on a question you asked, Jamie, around the implementation gap and how the thing is when AI hits the road or hits the workforce, actually, how is it going to happen? So then I was looking at what big shifts have there been in AI in the last 6 months and year, and I can't see any. So I know it's too early to say, and it will have an impact, but it hasn't quite had the rapid impact that people were saying, and people are still using it to write, improve their emails and write letters and things like that. But it's not having a massive health impact across healthcare in the way that it's being predicted. So I think AI, and perhaps this is the era of starting to realise it's overhyped.
I would agree with you that it was a great episode. I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was the most sensible, like you say, the most sensible reading of all of that. I joined the AI ambassadors group the other day.
I'm in that group as well.
And that was, well, it was interesting yesterday's because it's going to take over the world. So in answer to your question, I think the only thing that is in reality is the kind of radiography space and all of that. But it was really interesting joining in the spiel you get about how it's going to improve productivity, etc., etc. But I thought your pod was, a more balanced kind of deeper dive into actually what's it really going to do. It was really good.
Yeah, so I've been doing a bit of work with some people on using AI for education, and probably the most exciting thing that I've seen is there's a GP who works on this thing called MedTutor AI, and what he's done with that is he's created a platform where you, with various scenarios that are in there, and you speak in to the microphone on your phone or your computer, and it's a consultation. And it starts off by saying, there's a lady who you're seeing next with a 6-month-old baby, and she's after an antibiotic. And then you start off by saying, oh, hello, my name is Jonathan. I'm the GP here. How can I help you today? And it answers back to you. And I thought, you know what, this is going to be a bit rubbish, and it's not going to do quite a lot of the nuanced things that you get from consultations. And I was blown away by how accurate it was and how good it was at giving you feedback as to how well you're doing in a consultation. So I don't think it's there yet, but if you think of the other ways that we look at improving consultation skills, it's you get some actors in who help you, and that's not great. We did the stuff at Kiel with the avatars and the computer, and that's good as well, because computers don't get upset if you get it wrong, and if you do it with real patients, and again you run that risk of spoiling that relationship that you have with them. So I do think there's something in using it for educational purposes. Maybe not for helping just yet with sort of clinical decision making, but for education and training, I think there's a real potential for it quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example, and I'm not denying this is what I was trying to say is there's loads of stuff like that where it's really, that's interesting, that's really exciting, but it doesn't make it over the line for a various reason, and B, it's still not really a game changer, is it? And I think that's my point, is that what's been hyped is this is going to save the NHS, this is going to be a game changer here and there, and that's what we're not seeing at the moment. But not denying that sounds really interesting.
So I said on the episode that I didn't want to come across as a Luddite, and I'm sure that it probably came across like that. But I think that in some of the feedback that we got was we all fall into the trap, don't we, of using the two little letters AI, when actually we're talking about a huge amount of possibilities, like you say, Claire, around X-rays and being trained on an actual set that's been, everybody knows what it is and it can be checked. So interestingly, like we like a bit of podultry on here, don't we? So I've certainly already been on one this year, the Contented Clinician, but we actually got contacted by Snug Podcast, which is the Scottish National Users Group, and they have asked, and I've down to do a podcast in January with Andrew, who's the lead GP, which is around the use of AI around polypharmacy. So my New Year's resolution is to be less Luddite about AI, but I will continue to be the curious me that is wanting to see the evidence that what somebody claims it does is what it actually does do.
And no matter how good AI is, it couldn't make your Medcoin idea actually work, could it? Not even AI could bring that idea out.
So, a farmer comedy then. Here's a moment. I was talking to one of our local farmers about AI and how he used AI. And he said he just couldn't get around it at all and had to use a bull in the end.
Yeah.
Very good.
My husband will get that, Joe.
Claire, what's one of your reflections on 2025?
Well, it's not pod related, and if maybe I could have a personal one if that's permitted. I was just thinking I couldn't really get past this before to think of a work high that matched this, but and it is a bit indulgent, but there was a very nice day in August when my youngest son went to collect his GCSE results, and he was predicted to do well, but he absolutely smashed it. And it was just the best day ever. It is awful when people wang on about their kids, and I'm not going to do that. But those moments don't come along very often in your life where it couldn't have been any better. So when I was thinking about 2025, I thought, well, that is without a shadow of a doubt the highlight on a sort of personal basis. I think on a kind of work basis, obviously we've been on this continued roller coaster with the polypharmacy programme. We produced our evaluation. We've now got, the economics that go with the work that we did. We had a big celebration event in September, which was fantastic. And then the programme, kind of as we do in the NHS when things are working quite well, the programme has come to an end, although there might be some light at the end of the tunnel. But I think for me, I did just want to say a little bit that the last few weeks have been really quite hard, and you sort of realise who your friends are. And I do owe Steve a massive thank you, because he has been kind of on the phone every week listening to me like bashing his ear about how frustrated I am. So I am very, very grateful to you for that, Steve. But I can't say anything at the moment, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. So we may end 2025 on a high, yet to be determined. Let's see.
So my highlight would be similar. Thank you by the way, Claire. I mean, the point is that I was thinking about this today, right? We use our WhatsApp groups, don't we, as if we were working together, but we all are working in different parts of the country. And I don't know about you, perhaps particularly those of you that work almost exclusively at home, is that the WhatsApp group is a way of almost having those conversations. It's not a water cooler, is it? But you know what I'm saying? When you traditionally worked like we all might have done in a department or whatever. And the WhatsApp group is phenomenal at that kind of stuff, isn't it? But like you said, sometimes you do need to realise that it has limitations, and that actually picking up the phone is the right form of communication. And so I don't mind at all. And so, and it works all ways, doesn't it? You guys I've told you before about some of my lows. So that's no problem. But the reason I wanted to say about the continued light, if you like, that we're all trying to push around the polypharmacy is, my highlight would be the fact that, and you know this, Claire, and all of us that have been involved in it, is that the mechanics of tackling overprescribing and problematic polypharmacy was launched this year through the Health Innovation Network. And not only that, but more importantly, and we talked a lot, well, we didn't talk a lot actually about the 10-year health plan, because I certainly said it's just a load of words until we get some strategy as to what we're actually going to do about it. But when we did eventually get this is what ICBs need to do in the next 3 years, blow us down if under sickness to prevention left shift, ICB's 5-year plans to support preventative goals: 1, reduce exposure to antibiotics, and addressing problematic polypharmacy to reduce avoidable harm. Boom.
Superb.
That is 2025, and that's you, Claire, and Amy, and all the others that have worked around all of that. And so that's certainly my highlight of the year.
That's superb, isn't it? Because I know it's tough, Claire, in terms of the programme, but there has been a shift in, polypharmacy, and particularly deprescribing. I know it's not everyone's favourite term, but deprescribing, it's in the lexicon now, isn't it? And it's recognised as an issue, and that's so in some ways things have to evolve, don't they? And that's the next step, really. Is you've got the key now there in the 5-year plan. How do we make how do we get some traction with that?
Yeah, and I think what I'm seeing already locally, so I saw that in the medium-term planning framework. I wrote a 5-year plan that afternoon because I thought, well, I've been thinking about this for 10 years. But what's really started to change is the conversation about frailty. And it feels like for the first time ever, older people and the way we've been chucking medicines at them, that is now on the, that is on the agenda. Actually, we've got to do something differently with our older people because we're definitely not getting it right, and they're being admitted to hospital in a way that they don't need to be, and there are other ways through it. So it feels to me that the sort of polypharmacy frailty stars have aligned, and there's some brilliant people in that space in England but also all over the world, and it does feel like we've got this moment. And so 2026 could be really exciting.
So my second thing I was going to chat about, I know I've done one already, but I'll do my second one, then I can relax.
You plough on, Gimmo. You just plough on, yeah?
It's on a related theme, that's all. I just thought it flowed quite nicely. So
do you need to go to the toilet or something?
So what hospital-acquired condition affects up to 65% of older adults, strips away 5% of muscle strength per day, and that equates to 1.5 kilograms of muscle in a week, and often adds more days to a hospital stay than the illness that a person came in with?
Deconditioning, not getting them out of bed.
Yeah, so it's not a disease, it's not pneumonia, it's a
It was
drug.
your new word that you learned, wasn't it, earlier in the year, Gimmo?
Yes, sarcopenia was my new word.
Sarcopenia, okay.
But the term is deconditioning, and so yeah, the a disease called by the physics of being still. And so, it's really quick. Some of the facts I've learned are really scary. Within 72 hours, you're more likely to get delirium. Half of older adults become incontinent just after a day of being in hospital. Half experience functional decline. Half leave with an increased risk of falls. And 1 in 6 will lose their mobility as a result of being in hospital. And so I've been doing, this is one of the things I've been working on this year in the hospitals. But obviously there's a massive medicines related element, which is why I think it's fine for me to shoehorn it into this episode. But we know that, sedatives, opioids, antipsychotics, anticholinergic burden, all that stuff, reduced mobility, polypharmacy. But I guess what my reflection for this year is it's just, I wrote a blog on it, which I call the Kutch Culture, and it's about how the temptation is to keep people in hospital because we think it's safer. Yet there's a tipping point where it's really doing people harm, and that tipping point is much sort of, we're so far on the wrong side of it. So we've really got to put our efforts in, pharmacists and healthcare professionals listening, and relatives who think the hospital is safer. We've really got to push hard on getting people out of hospital as quickly as possible.
The other thing to add to this, of course, is the British Geriatric Society in November also published a brilliant piece of guidance called Pragmatic Prescribing in Frail Patients.
It was brilliant, Steve. I know you had a hand in it. It was, and Claire, I think, wasn't it?
It's phenomenal. And they're getting a lot of traction. I know they are. And when in some of the discussions that I was involved with them, we were saying, well, it's good if it gets people talking about it because it's really important. And I won't go into details, but there was a society that immediately, this day it went out, came back with a reason why they thought that was a ridiculous idea. And it's fair to say that they hadn't thought it through. And some of the evidence that they tried to suggest that, no, you needed to have all the medicines because that actually could reduce your frailty, made them look really, really stupid. And the whole point of the title is pragmatic prescribing, because in these people with moderate to severe frailty, there's only going in one direction, and we need to be pragmatic about what we do and what we don't give. So the BGS pragmatic prescribing for frail patients is a superb piece of guidance this year.
But it's the same with the tests and everything else that we're doing on people. The figure I learned just today was that if you're 85 and older and go into hospital, the chances are, I think it's 50% again will die within a year. So you've got to ask yourself, how much of that year do you want to spend in hospital, and is it worth, spending times on tests and all this sort of stuff that's going to keep you in for another week or 2 weeks? even if it might yield some positive results. It's that pragmatic approach and balance of risk, isn't it?
Just totally agree. But I think, rather than like get them out as fast as possible, we really need to work hard to not get them in the first place. And that was certainly the approach I took with my dad. And he didn't have a night in hospital, but there was an awful lot of work went into kind of making sure that happened, and it's really difficult. And know-how, exactly, and colleagues that kind of helped me along the way. And I think the services that are coming now, hospital at home type things where people can stay in their own home if that's what they choose. I think we've got to really work hard to sort of do all of that properly. But that needs a big conversation with the public, because we still buy into this. Every intervention must be a good one. And I just don't think... I think we need to have a realistic conversation about that in older people, but it's coming. It is coming in a way that when Steve and I started this work about 10 years ago now, it wasn't there at all there. And this felt quite, I remember being really nervous around this agenda, that people would think it was about not giving medicines to people because they're old. It's not about that. It's about what's the right thing to do for the person in the condition they are in front of you. But that has now changed completely in the space of maybe 7 or 8 years. So fingers crossed that continues.
So I think, to be fair, and you're right, Steve, about the 10-year plan being a little bit sort of lacking operational detail, and we're still waiting for that, aren't we? But what the ambition that's in the 10-year plan is, exactly as you've just described there, stopping people from going into hospital in the first place and providing that care in the place that's most convenient to them, ideally digitally, if they can do that, or at home, or close to their home, and hospital as a last resort. As an ambition, that's great. The question is, how do you do that? Because I'm sorry, guys, it's going to mean we're going to have to close some hospitals. And that then becomes political, because all the MPs will say, well, yes, I agree, we need to close hospitals, but you're not closing the one in my constituency. You have to close it in the next constituency. And we've never, ever had that grown-up, mature conversation about which hospitals are actually going to be closed if we are serious about shifting people from hospital into other sectors.
Yeah. No, nobody disagrees with the 3 left shifts at all. It's the fact of all that gubbins that was in the document was just essentially a wish list, without any guidance. So anyway, we kind of we've gone off, but we're
and
very
I've done my
clear
2,
about
so
that.
I'm going home. I'm going home early, if that's okay.
You're frozen out.
You can go to the toilet now, Gimmo.
Jonathan, do you want to come in with one of your reflections?
Yes, on a personal note, as you know, I set up my own company in May 2024, and we talked about that the last years, about me leaving NICE after many, many years, and I submitted my first accounts last week. And it was so exciting to do that. It really was. And it's like, and of course I've been salaried all my life, so I've never had to think about anything like this. But I have a newfound respect for anyone who is a contractor and has their own business, because crikey, it's a lot of work to do that. And it's quite scary as well, because I'm thinking, I'm going to end up in jail here if I don't get all this right. So
Evasion, avoidance.
Yes. Exactly. So maybe if I do get invited back next year, it may well be from... because I haven't submitted my accounts properly, I don't know. Anyway.
Jonathan, did you do it like me on the other Sunday when it absolutely tanked it down all day? I thought, right, there's nothing for it. Let's do the accounts. And I put them in myself this week.
Do you know what? I'm taking the opposite approach to the one that I have for CPD, and I'm doing it every month now. Not just in October when my records are due to be submitted.
Oh, well, that's well done. Your accountant will be very happy.
Yes, indeed.
And but you've got great guns on your Talking Meds. I was looking before. You've done 34 episodes since it started. Most of them this year.
Yes, we've done one every 2 weeks, and we started in September 24. So it's been going for over a year now. And apparently most podcasts last for about 3 months before they go.
We remember what it was like doing every 2 weeks, mate.
Yeah, but you guys have been going for, is this 5 years now? 4 years?
We did it every week at the beginning, and it was it was 5 years this year, wasn't it?
5 years in February.
This is an opportune moment for a bonus quiz question.
Okay.
Okay. It turns out that we were ahead of the field in so many ways, but on pharmacomedy, in Series 1, Episode 1, what was the gag that the Aural Apothecary opened with?
Oh, it was something to do with contraception and pharmacists.
It was pharma comedy at its finest.
Remind us.
What do pharmacists use for contraception? Their personalities.
I think we bucked the trend now.
I remember.
So we celebrate 5 years of the Aural Apothecary in March, don't we? March 2026. 5 years coming up.
That's very impressive.
But yeah, great work, Johnny, because it's so much harder, I'm sure, to do it with one person. I mean, for us, although, we all know that you need structure. Of course you do. But in some respects, it must be much harder with one person.
And I have to say, I mean, the three of you and Claire as well helped lots with the sort of, because you go on a journey, don't you? And you learn a new thing, and you think, and I remember speaking to Jamie quite a lot about that. So, give me some top tips then. What sort of things should I? And you do make mistakes, and you learn from your mistakes, just like you do in clinical practice, don't you? But no, we've had some really good guests in the last year on Talking Meds. And actually, what we're doing for the end of year Talking Meds is actually 2 episodes. We're doing a retrospective look back with three guests that we've had on before, and then for the first one in January, we're doing a look forward to 2026 and what's coming up. So, listeners, you'll have to listen to that.
I don't think we've had our invite yet for that one, have we?
What was it that attracted you to the millionaire Paul Daniels?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, James, you're going to have to give us a reflection now.
Well, I give it because it involves Jonathan as well, this one does. And so I've gone for a more light-hearted one, I think, probably. And I'll take us back to Copenhagen earlier in the year. It's the final day. It's Tommy Whitelaw's keynote. We're all invested in it because I met Tommy up in Scotland when he was speaking at the SPA conference. He came on the podcast and delivered a great episode for us on the podcast. Jonathan picked him up from there and put, Jonathan, as he does, he puts his reputation on the line often by recommending keynotes and workshops for all of us at EAHP, European Association of Hospital Pharmacists. So I'm sitting there nervous for me, for Jonathan, for Tommy. Steve and I have discussed, though, that we have to have a sharp getaway. Because we've seen Tommy's before and we just want to see that it's gone well, and then we're gonna exit the building. And it's going well. He's telling his story like only Tommy can tell. He's got the whole audience in tears, whole European audience in tears. He's absolutely connected them with his broad Scottish accent. It's incredible. As discussed, STC and I have decided, right, as soon as he gets to this point in his routine, we'll get up and we'll exit. And as we did, we caught Tommy's eye and he just called us down onto the main stage to join in his Katy Perry Raw sing-along.
Oh my God, I'm so sad I missed that.
Yeah, so you couldn't get any better timing, honestly. We literally got up to exit and Tommy just announced, "Here come the Spice Boys."
And who do you think is the best dancer between Jamie and I? You see me at the HSJ, you know my moves.
So this was actually videoed as well, of course, by the EAHP. So can we put it linked in the show notes for listeners to watch the dancing? Because it wasn't just the three of us, was it? Yeah, there was the president of the EAHP and the treasurer of the EAHP. Again, 2 middle-aged men. So there's 5 middle-aged white men dancing to Katy Price, Raw, and Tommy. And yes, it's a sight
Katy
to
Perry.
behold.
Katy Perry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think Katy Price was there.
Yeah.
That might have been in
Nothing to do with
another
that.
dream you were having.
But then, right at the end then, when we did finally leave, we were quite quick out the blocks, but we weren't as fast out of the blocks as Tommy himself left the auditorium. And so then we met Tommy straight after it, and it just shows you how much he puts into a performance. Because he was outside and in recovery mode, obviously, straight after. So all very impressive. And so yeah, it was a highlight, a genuine highlight. And I'll put in a personal highlight. Look, was Rory McIlroy winning the Masters.
Oh.
What's that going to do with the Aural Apothecary?
What incredible sporting theatre!
Oh, I've never heard such nonsense. I'm not having that on the podcast.
The Ryder Cup was
Jim will edit that out.
very sweet.
No, it was incredible.
So, Jamie, surely one of your highlights has got to be your TED Talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes and no. It is a highlight. As you've mentioned it, I'll bring us on to I'll bring us on to another strand. Okay. In preparation for the TED Talk, which was in June, I met up with Aural Apothecary alumni, Professor Mark Torbert. Mark did a TEDx in 2017. Why language matters when you know you're dying. Okay, so that was Mark's TED. It's out there. Have a watch. It's had 250,000 views. Why language matters when you know you're dying. So I met with Mark just to ask him about what can I expect and any tips and that went great. He gave me an hour of his time over coffee in the hospital that we're both based at. As I was leaving the conversation, I just mentioned to him in passing. I said, we've done a piece for the we've done a blog actually on BNFs. I said I've inherited a collection of a full collection of BNFs, and I've measured and then weighed them. And Mark said, "Oh, that sounds great, Jamie. That would be a great Christmas BMJ paper." And I left it at that. That was in May of this year. And about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had an email from the Christmas BMJ people to say, we love your work and we would like to proceed.
Hooray!
So that is very exciting. We're still going through but by the time this comes out, we hopefully will have a little piece. It's a data visualization piece. The bods at the BMJ have done some incredible things. And so that wouldn't have happened actually if it's just that chance thing around the TEDx, but actually it was that piece that's led to the Christmas BMJ. Who knew?
That's very exciting.
Well,
Well
hey,
done.
while we're in full Christmas mood, you have all in front of you received a Christmas gift from STC. So you were all instructed not to open it. So here you go.
So now?
You
Can we open
shall
that?
do so now, and you will have to explain what it is to the listener.
Did we all get the same?
Jamie got a slight difference. Right. Who wants to try to explain what it is that you've received and why it's important?
Transport for London won't tell us off if we try and explain what it is, will they?
So it's not a tube map, is it?
No.
It was first highlighted, and it was got its first public appearance at the Clinical Pharmacy Congress, didn't it, in
London,
May.
yeah.
And it is the Aural Apothecary Medicines Map, and so it's the fantastic work of art. I'm going to say, Steve. I know. Me and you debated whether it was an infographic or a work of art, but it is a work of art, and it's the tube map with a huge amount of thought that's gone into what medicine is at each station. So
yeah. So it was
fantastic. Thank you very much.
Jamie's original artistic idea, and then just to go back to the AI theme, and I know I've said this on a previous episode, so I'll keep it very brief. But this is where, and in fact, I was chuffed a few weeks ago. I went into the coffee room at work, and they all went, "Oh, let's ask the Westbourne AI." As I walked in, and I thought, "Oh, that's nice." but this was for me. This was humans over AI, because AI couldn't do this, could it, James? And so I'm wondering if we should just cheekily, nobody will know. Maybe we should just put it up on the Aural Apothecary podcast website just for 1 week. If you're listening to this episode between the 26th of December and the 1st of January, you will be able to go to the Aural Apothecary website and you will see the wonder that is the Aural Apothecary Medicines Map. Merry Christmas, all.
Thank you very, very much.
Sponsored by onelesspill.com.
And Jamie Hayes, executive coaching. Jamie actually has it. So the guys have got it as a poster, and Jamie has got as a beer mat, coffee mat, because I knew that he already had one on his wall.
Well, that's really lovely. Thank you so much. That's going to go next to all my certificates so in my shed here, I've got my Wigan Peerless poem, and it will go right next to that. So thank you very, very much.
There you go.
And the medicine bottle that's in the tube map is in this as well, of course, isn't it? And if people don't know, have a look at the tube map, and there is a medicine bottle in there.
Yeah.
On the circle line.
That reminds me. I went with Lawrence Brad to this event, right, at this hotel, swanky hotel in London, for Take a Moment, which is a mental health charity. And I was talking to this guy who was a Londoner, and I started talking to them about it, because why wouldn't you? And this guy just said to me, before I'd even mentioned it, he said to me, oh, and you know there's a medicine bottle around the Circle Line, don't you? And I was like, I wanted to kiss him. I was like, you know, he said, yeah, us Londoners, he said, we know that. You can't unsee it. And I was like, wow. But it was my wife who actually spotted it.
Very good. So, quiz time.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I'll put you into teams, I think. Claire and Steve, Jonathan and Gimmo. So it's a tough one, I think. It might be too tough, but let's have a go.
That's like when people say to you at work, they go, Claire, I don't think you'll know the answer to this. And then they proceed to ask you a question and you think, God, that's patronising. Carry on, Jamie.
It's from the Spotify playlist, the Aural Apothecary playlist, which really is on Spotify. And so it's guess the lyrics, okay?
Oh, my word.
So
Terrible
let's
lyrics.
and I've had some help from some Aural Apothecary alumni along the way. So let's try this one.
I'm telling the story in a faraway scene, slitting down Raki and reading Maynard Keynes. And I'm thinking about home and all that means and a place in the winter.
For dignity.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Deacon Blue.
Very good. Very good. Do you get the game? That was a little taster.
Yeah.
That was the easy
Let's
one.
try.
So tell us who it was who said it, Jamie.
Well, who was that delivering? Who Aural alumni was that?
Was it Lawrence?
That was Professor Phil Howard.
Oh, it was Phil
yeah.
Howard.
Reading it out, yes?
Yeah,
reading
got it.
Yeah. Okay,
You went
let's
to
try.
see him this year, didn't you, Steve, Deacon Blue?
I did. They were amazing.
Try this one.
Everybody loves my baby. Everybody loves my baby. She get high. She get high. She get high. She get high. Yeah.
Mark
that-
Talbot.
Yeah, I was going
Mark
to say, he's
Talbot.
been on the show already. That was Mark.
Yeah.
Is it that one from Beetlejuice, that wind up, she bottom, she dance only sister? Is it that one?
I know this one. It's the Doors, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
Oh, well
that's
done.
right.
Oh, God, that was really badly.
break on through to
Break
the
on
other
through to
side.
the other side. Yes. Okay. and
You
for
look
bonus-
like you turned to a different computer then. You're not like Shazamming it, are you, from the words?
He's got AI on the AI companion.
Break on through. And whose anthem was Break on Through?
Oh, was it Irish medication safety pharmacist?
Oh, Angela.
Angela Carrington.
It was.
Oh, well done, Steve. Well done.
good.
Fair play.
Lovely lady.
She's doing some really good stuff, actually, isn't she? Let's give a quick shout out to her.
Quick shout out to Northern Ireland. I went to Belfast a few weeks ago and met with her and Mike Scott, and they're doing some brilliant stuff over there. I could have stayed. It was great.
By the way, do you remember when she tried to tell us about how to say isfagula?
Yeah.
Isbag hula hoop, as somebody
How
else
she
called
how
it.
she met her husband, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Try this one.
And these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through.
What? Consultations in a song?
Is it Kooks?
No idea.
It's not, but you're close.
What did you say, Jonathan? Sorry?
Kooks by David Bowie. Or Bowie.
So it's a Bowie song then.
It is.
We know Mark loves Bowie.
What was his anthem?
Life on Mars?
Changes by Bowie.
Changes, yes, it is. Changes, yeah, of course it is.
But who knew it had consultation in it?
You grasp anything when you...
The remit that I asked Phil and Mark was, I said, can you just pick some songs off the playlist and record them, Jon Snow like fashion. Jon Snow from Big Fat Quiz of the Year. So they've delivered on that. There we go. That's it.
Brilliant.
They called him MC squared, 'cause he raps like no other, an asthma sufferer like Ernesto Guevara. Too much Monte Cristo number 4. Her and I believe. Pass the Ventolin, I need some more. They had more. We have ways of making you think.
Is that Mr. Pharmacist?
No.
Is it? It's not Einstein a go-go, is it?
This is always related. This is going to always be a quiz question for the Aural Apothecary. It's related to one of our most intriguing trivia questions.
Is it to do with Angel's Trumpet?
No, it's close. It's Herman's
Hermits.
Oh, this is from the episode that's never seen the light of day.
That's correct. That's correct. By Prof. Andrew Morris, head of pharmacy school in Swansea University. And that was his track from the Super Furry
So
Animals.
what was the song again, Jim?
Herman Loves Pauline, is it? Yeah?
Yeah, Herman Loves Pauline. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have got that, Gimmo. You're a plastic Welshman now, aren't you?
Hey, they're a great band, Super Furry Animals. I couldn't
Didn't
get
say
tickets.
they were.
There we go.
There we go.
Should we get back on to some other reflections or other highlights? Claire, go on. You're a guest.
I suppose my role here is to represent the sisterhood, and I think for me there was something really exciting this year, which may not be exciting to you, but when the World Health Organization announced this year that there are countries who've now eliminated cervical cancer because of the HPV vaccination program, you just think that has got to be a science over adversity story, kind of like no other. And I think NHS England have declared that we will aim to eliminate it by, I think they said 2040. But I think I'm right in saying Denmark and Australia are almost there. So they've got this sort of 90, 70, 90 rule. If you vaccinate 90% of 15-year-old girls with the HPV vaccine, 70% get screening, and I think 90% get treatment, you then... Well, they don't use the word eliminate. It was interesting. They use they don't use eradicate. They use eliminate. But I just thought, there's so many rubbish stories about health and harm. That is a real success story. So that was a highlight for me, because you think, well, within my lifetime, hopefully, that would all be possible. So I was just thinking about that the other day when the WHO announced it.
It's news for women's health, as you said, but it's yet another example of vaccination, isn't it? And how, we talked about game changers with AI. The real game changer in health is vaccination and hygiene, isn't it? And I think it's an amazing story because again, already memories are short of what the impact of cervical cancer was, and not just in terms of the cancer, but the impact of that things like smear testing has on women and that regime, and then that's something that the people have to go through. But then the people with the memory of women dying young, I don't know what the numbers are, but I remember hearing about it.
I think it's about 5,000 that they catch a year through vaccination, and they've prevented about 700 deaths in this country. For people who, if they'd had the vaccine, would have been. Yeah.
Well, that's incredible, isn't it?
You just think, and it, hard to spot.
And that's young women
Difficult
usually,
to treat.
isn't it?
Exactly, exactly that. So I kind of thought for the sisterhood I would bring some good news for women's health. Actually, to be fair, a reflection is women's health. If I think of the 5 years we've been doing this, where I kind of came on board going, it's a bit blokey, but look at what's happened in those 5 years actually to women's health. We're talking about menopause, we just talked about cervical cancer, and that's a very short period of time where it's become really acceptable to fight for the fact that women's health was not high enough up on the agenda.
Did you see that the Royal Pharmaceutical Society today, I think, or yesterday, issued a statement on women's health?
No, I didn't. I missed that. No.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, I will dig that out. So that's my reflection. Women on the agenda, which feels great.
Jonathan, did you have another one? Otherwise, I'm going to have a go for something joyous.
So I've actually got a bit of a quiz for you all, if that's okay. It's quite a short one, if that's allowed. But
have you got guests singing?
No, I haven't. No. So this is. I'm going to give you the name of a drug, okay, and a trade name, and I want you to tell me how it was derived, how they came up with that as a name. So
okay.
The easy one, Premarin.
Yeah, pregnant mare.
Pregnant mare urine. Yeah. Glucophage.
Oh, Lely told us this.
Well, phage is something that eats glucose.
Up sugar.
Eats glucose. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lasix.
Oh no, I know this one.
Length of action 6 hours.
Exactly. Lasts 6 hours. Valium.
Valium?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what the origin of that is.
So what's Latin for good night?
Valeria.
Valet. And I think my favourite one is nystatin.
This has been a final ingredient.
Has it?
Yes, it has. And
You've forgotten it then.
Yeah, I have.
So it comes from New York State Health Department.
Yes.
And that's where it was discovered.
No way.
Isn't that? I thought that was really quite nice, actually.
Because there's something similar with how warfarin gets its name, isn't it? It's
Right.
It's an abbreviation of the company, but I can't remember
It's the
what it
place Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, Wolf,
Yes,
and I remember
that's
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Good one. I like that, Jonathan.
Very
That's
good. Well, listen, on the same theme, the guys will know that for ages I've been going, come on, we need to do an A to Z of silly names of drugs. So that's what, when we talked about doing this.
They're
So,
all pretty silly.
Me and Jamie tend to put that in the Medcoin pile.
yeah. I know. So here's a few then. So big up to Kim Watson, who's works with me and my team, and she loves this kind of stuff. She spent many years working in community pharmacy, now in primary care, and not a day goes by that she doesn't give me a funny name for. So we all know things like Cloppy Dog Roll, Candy Statin, Cold Chicken for Colchicine, Bum Medicine for Bumetanide. The patient said that to me recently. Hello, Purinol. Gabapentin, Lactoluce, Metamorphine, Quavar for Qvar, and a few X-rated ones which we can always edit out. Slide in and fill, Sildenafil, Versace patches, Versatis.
So you did send this out on the WhatsApp group, didn't you? I have to say my favourite rude one was Bend Me Over the Fireside, which for bendroflumethiazide. But there you go.
There you go. But anyway, so I've got those out of my system. But I also was going to say something joyous, because I was listening the other day and I listened to the beginning and it said joyous patient stories when we say what we're going to cover. And I was thinking about the other thing about this year. We can't pass by all our colleagues who work at ICBs or NHS England and the ultra situation that has been going on. And so I'm lucky in that I'm not affected by that, but there's not a day or week goes past where I don't think how hard it is for those guys. So I wanted to give you a couple of joyous moments in my clinician career this year, which I think might might help. So I had this lovely, very old and frail couple, and I've known both of them for quite a while. I've spoken to them many times, done medication reviews with them, and they're very prim and proper. And one day I phoned one of them up, and she explained that her husband had just come out of hospital and she wasn't very well herself. And so she knows me by name, and she said, prim and proper as you like. And she said, to be honest, Steve, we're in a bit of a mucking fuddle. I was just like, I had to keep up my professional stigma. And then I had another one similarly, where I was talking to this guy, I've spoken to him many times, and I gave him all the information, I gave him the benefits, the risks and everything. And he said, wow, as ever, Steve, you've really gone to town on this. I'm really impressed with what you've given me. You and I should really go out for a drink sometime. And I said, I don't think you can do that on the NHS. And the last one was I got a call to say I needed to ring this person, and it said they've done a lot of homework. They're a scientist. And I love those kind of things. Jonathan, I bet you back in the day you loved these sorts of things as well. And you think, here's a challenge. So I think, well, I get all my ducks in a row, phone him up, and so I immediately, crack on straight away and say, I believe you've got some questions, but you've done some work yourself. Great, that you've done some homework. I believe you were a scientist. So tell me, what sort of scientist were you? I used to work at NASA. so never a dull day as a clinician.
Wow.
So there, a couple of joyous patient stories for you.
Fuddle. A mucking fuddle.
Very good. That first one, I was taken right back to the 1970s, watching the Two Ronnies with my dad. That because they used to do that all the time. How they got away with it at 7 o'clock on a Saturday evening, I don't know. But they did those spoonerisms, didn't they, where you changed the first letter around. And,
of course.
brilliant.
But you would not have believed it could have come out of that lady's mouth, honestly. It was just brilliant.
Indeed. Fantastic.
Very good. Are we done?
Have I killed it?
I think it's a nice way to go out. Go out on a high.
On a mucking fuddle.
Yeah.
Says it all.
Yeah, did anybody else want to say anything?
Merry Christmas.
Okay, thanks all. A big thank you to Claire and Jonathan for returning to the podcast. Episode 5 of Series 8 will be out in January, the last Friday of the month. You can contact us via Twitter at Aural Apothecary or X. We're on LinkedIn. Visit the website, theauralapothecary.com. You can email us at auralapothecarypod@gmail.com. apothecary.com, and many of you do. Finally, for this year, on behalf of all the apothecaries, we would like to thank all of our guests that have joined us for this year, for sharing their stories with us and with you, the listener. Also a chance to say thanks to the team behind the team at the Aural Apothecary. And finally, to you, the listener, for your feedback and interaction, for your views, thoughts, and for your encouragement. However you're choosing to spend the festive season, we would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. You have been listening to a 5 Apothecaries production. Sound engineer Jimbo Slough, original music Jamie Brewster, artwork by David Baker and Jacob Howard.
Thanks for listening to the Aural Apothecary podcast. Warning, harmless if digested.
This episode of the Aural Apothecary is sponsored by jamiehayes.co.uk.